You know that feeling when you wake up to a perfect morning birds chirping, coffee brewing, the world just humming along only to step outside and see your front lawn looking like it hosted a monster truck rally? Yeah, that was my life every damn day for weeks, thanks to Linda Voss, our HOA president, who decided my grass was her personal highway. That shiny 2025 Ford Expedition of hers wasn't just cutting through my yard, it was carving up my sanity, one muddy tire track at a time. I'm Jake, by the way, just a guy who loves his little patch of green in a quiet cul-de-sac in Maple Grove, Virginia. My lawn's nothing fancy, but it's mine mowed in crisp stripes, edges sharp enough to make a barber jealous, the kind of yard that says, "Hey, I care about this place." So when I first spotted those tire marks, faint lines pressed into the wet grass after spring rain, I figured it was a fluky delivery guy who missed the turn, maybe some kid showing off. But the next day, they were back, deeper, angrier, like someone was making a point. By the end of the week, my lawn looked like it had been through a war, brown scars tearing through the green I'd spent years perfecting. I stood there, coffee going cold in my hand, staring at those ruts, feeling like someone had spit in my face. I started waking up early, staking out my own house like some wannabe detective, peering through the blinds at 7 a.m., waiting for the culprit. But I was always a step behind open the door, and boom, fresh tracks, mocking me. It wasn't random. It was clockwork, always between 7:10 and 7:25, rain or shine. Whoever it was had a schedule, and that made it personal. I mean, who wakes up, looks at a perfectly good road, and thinks, nah, I'll just plow through Jake's yard instead? That's not laziness, that's a power trip. So I got smart. I ordered a cheap security camera off the internet, one of those motion detecting deals that promised crystal clear evidence for $40. Mounted it by the mailbox, angled it to catch the exact spot where the tracks appeared, and waited. That night, I sat on my porch, the camera's little red light blinking like it was in on the plan. The next morning, I opened the app, heart pounding, scrolling through shadows and stray cats until there it was. A gleaming Ford Expedition, rolling through my lawn like it owned the place, and behind the wheel, Linda Voss herself. Sunglasses perched on her nose, one hand on the steering wheel, smirking like she was auditioning for a villain role in a bad movie. My jaw hit the floor. Linda, the HOA queen, the woman who'd fined me last year for leaving my trash can out an hour too long, was tearing up my yard every damn day. I watched that clip over and over, each loop making my blood boil hotter. Linda wasn't just breaking her own rules, she was laughing at them. She'd built this whole persona as the neighborhood's enforcer, strutting around with her clipboard, citing people for untrimmed hedges or unesthetic mailboxes, all while treating my property like her personal shortcut. The hypocrisy was one thing, but the smirk, that smug little grin, felt like a dare. She thought she was untouchable, and I was just some schmuck who'd take it. I tried to play nice at first. I mean, I'm not a hot-at-am guy who waves at joggers and helps old Mrs. Carter with her groceries. So at the next HOA cleanup, I cornered Linda, rake in hand, forcing my voice to stay calm. "Hey, Linda, got a sec? I've been noticing some tire tracks on my lawn, pretty deep ones, every morning. Got footage, too. It's her expedition." For a split second, her eyes flickered like she'd been caught, but then she laughed, this airy, fake chuckle that made me want to snap my rake in half. "Oh, Jake, it's just grass, it grows back. Besides, I'm the HOA president. I drive all over this neighborhood. Maybe your camera's playing tricks." I pushed back, voice steady but sharp. "It's you, Linda. Every morning. It needs to stop." That's when her smile vanished, and she leaned in, voice low, like a mob boss in a cardigan. "Jake, I am the board. Keep making noise, and you'll regret it. We all make sacrifices for the community, maybe your lawn's one of them." She turned and marched off, leaving me standing there, rake trembling in my hands. That was the moment I knew this wasn't about grass Anna Maria, it was about power. Linda wasn't just driving through my yard. She was driving through me, flexing her control, betting I'd fold. And for a hot minute, I almost did. She started sending violation letters first for poor lawn maintenance, then for my non-compliant porch light, even one claiming my dog's water bowl was a public nuisance. My neighbors, good folks like Mara, the retired teacher, or Hector, the guy who always grills too much at block parties, they saw what was happening but stayed quiet, afraid of Linda's wrath. I got it, nobody wants to poke the bear when the bear runs the HOA. But every morning, when I saw those fresh tracks, that wave she'd throw my way, like we were in on some sick joke, I felt something harden inside me. I wasn't folding. I was fighting. I started digging city codes, HOA bylaws, anything I could find to turn the tables without breaking the law. I wasn't about to spike her tires or do something stupid. I've got a niece who plays in that yard, and I wasn't risking anyone's safety. But I found a loophole. I could modify my property legally as long as it met code. Planters, shrubs, gravel, beds, nothing permanent. Nothing hazardous, just enough to make her shortcut impossible without making her look like a fool. I sketched it out like a battle plan. A row of heavy terracotta planters, blue salvia for color, low boxwood shrubs, and a strip of gravel that screamed, "Walk here, not drive." It'd look classy, like something out of a home magazine. But to Linda, it'd be a brick wall for her ego. I called a landscaper, a guy named Tom, who talked about curb appeal like it was poetry, and laid out my plan. He raised an eyebrow when I said I wanted it awkward for SUVs, but gave me an estimate, promised it'd blend into the neighborhood's vibe. I ordered the materials, kept every receipt, and double-checked with the city that my plan was bulletproof. I even drafted a fake HOA proposal, calling it a beautification project for safety and aesthetics, just in case Linda tried to spin it. Then I looped in Mara and Hector, who were both fed up with Linda's reign. "If she tries anything," Mara said, grinning, "I'll have my phone ready." Hector just laughed and said, "This is going to be better than Netflix." The morning of the install, I was a nervous wreck, sipping coffee like it was my job, watching Tom's crew set up like a SWAT team. By 8 a.m., it was done, planters in a neat arc, shrubs tucked in, gravel gleaming like a polite middle finger. It looked so good, I almost forgot it was a trap. I waited, camera app open, heart thumping. At 5 p.m., Linda's expedition rolled up, late for her usual run, probably coming back from some HOA power trip. She slowed, her face tightening like she'd bitten a lemon. She tried to swing wide, but the planters forced her to a crawl, her bumper kissing one just enough to kick up dirt. I heard her curse through the open window, saw her sunglasses slip as she backed up, engine whining, gravel crunching like applause. Mara was on her porch, filming, cackling softly. Hector leaned against his truck, phone up, grinning like a kid at a circus. Neighbors peeked out, some laughing, some just staring, as Linda's grand chariot got stuck in her own arrogance. She stormed up my path, heels clicking like gunfire. "What the hell is this, Jake?" she snapped, pointing at the planters like they'd insulted her personally. I leaned against the railing, calm as a sunny day. "Just sprucing up the place, Linda community beautification, you know? Looks nice, right?" I slid Tom's business card across the railing, watched her face twitch. She threatened fines, the board, even a lawsuit, but with half the street watching, her words sounded hollow. Mara chimed in, "Looks great, Jake, way better than tire tracks." The crowd chuckled, phones still rolling, and Linda's mask cracked. She climbed back into her SUV, no wave this time, and peeled out, leaving a little cloud of gravel dust. The fallout was glorious. By evening, clips of Linda's fumble were all over the neighborhood group chat, captioned things like HOA Queen versus Planners, round one. At the next HOA meeting, she tried to paint me as the villain, But Mara played the video, and the room dissolved into laughter. Even her loyalists squirmed, muttering about reviewing policies. Linda's power didn't just crack, it shattered. She sent a few more desperate violation letters. One even claimed my planters attracted excessive butterflies, but they ended up on my fridge like medals. She took me to small claims court, claiming harassment, but the judge, barely hiding a smirk, watched my videos, flipped through my receipts, and tossed the case, ordering her to pay my fees. The look on her face as she left, heels quieter now, was worth every penny. Linda resigned from the board a month later, citing family time. Her expedition stayed parked, and she started walking to avoid my street. My lawn healed, the planters bloomed, and neighbors I barely knew started nodding at me, saying things like, "Nice move, Jake." One day, a new couple stopped by, grinning. "You're the guy who took down Linda, right?" "Legend." I just shrugged, but inside I felt something settle, a quiet pride. Not in her fall, but in taking back what was mine. Looking back, it wasn't about the grass, it was about standing up when someone bets you won't. Linda thought she could bully me into submission, but she forgot one thing. Arrogance trips over itself if you give it enough rope. To anyone out there dealing with your own Lindisome HOA tyrant, a pushy boss, or just a jerk who thinks they're above the rules, here's my advice. Don't shout, don't swing. Document everything, stay calm, and let their ego do the heavy lifting. It's not about revenge, it's about showing the world who they really are. So what's your story? Ever faced down a bully like that? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear how you fought back, or if you think I went too far. Was I the hero here, or just another guy playing dirty in the suburbs? Let's talk.